All right, we're going to do a little bit more factoring in this video. This is the second of my factoring videos. So if you haven't seen the first one and you're just starting factoring, I strongly suggest you watch the first one so kind of get the idea because I'm going to move a little bit quicker in this one. So we're going to factor each completely and I'm going to show you how you can check your work. That way you know you are always going to be correct. So as I talked about in the first video, what we are looking for, especially when we have x squared plus 10x plus 16. So this trick works only if the coefficient in front of the x squared is 1. So there's no number here really in front of the x squared. This trick works. And what we're looking for, and will be common throughout this entire video, is we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 16, but those same two numbers add to 10. So we're going to need two numbers that multiply to the back. Same two numbers need to add to the middle. So what I do is I start by writing 16 out to the side. Now, a lot of students think this step is meaningless. I'm telling you, you want to do this because kids that get stuck, they're typically a common theme is they never write out the list. So let's write out all the different pairs of numbers that can multiply to 16. So I could do 1 times 16 gets me 16. 2 times 8 gets me 16. Let's think. 3 times anything? No. And then 4 times 4. So again, I'm looking for two numbers in this list that are going to multiply to give me positive 16. The same two numbers need to add to 10. Now, depending on your level of skill on factoring, the more you do these, the quicker it is that they jump out at you at which ones you're going to do. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use 2 and 8 because 2 times 8 is 16 and 2 plus 8 is positive 10. So I think my answer is x plus 2, x plus 8. Now, by the way, if you switch the order there and put the plus 8 up here and the plus 2 back there, doesn't matter. So I think this is my answer. Before I box it, though, again, I do want to check my work. Now, what's going on here is factoring is kind of the opposite action of multiplication. So it's almost as if we're really doing division here. So if I do multiplication of these two, I'm hoping what happens is I get this. If I multiply my answer together, notice I flipped the order there, it's not going to matter. If I get this, then I know I'm doing it right. So I'm going to distribute, so x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, 8 times x is 8x, and 8 times 2 is 16. Now if I combine like terms here, x squared plus 10x plus 16. So looking here, I got x squared plus 10x plus 16. Oh, I wanted x squared plus 10x plus 16. So I know because this matches my original problem, this works. So my answer is going to be x plus 2, x plus 8. So let's do 3 more examples here where things change just slightly. So same thing, looking for two numbers that multiply to 36, add to negative 15. So let's start by making a list of numbers that multiply to 36. So let's start with 1. 1 times 36 does give me 36. 2 times 18 gives me 36. 3 times 12 gets me 36. 4 times 9 gives me 36. 6 times 6 gets me 36. And that's all my list is. So I'm looking for two numbers that are going to multiply to be 36. But they need to add together to give me a negative 15. So to get two numbers that multiply to a positive and add to a negative, I'm going to need both numbers to be negative. So to multiply to get a positive, you need a positive times a positive. But two positive numbers aren't going to give me a negative number. But if I do a negative times a negative, I get a positive number. And a negative can also give me a negative number here. So I'm looking to see what two numbers might give me negative 15. 3 and 12 will give me positive 15. So let's think here. If I use 3 and 12, well, what I can do is, well, negative 3 and negative 12, before I get to check, negative 3 times negative 12 will give me positive 36. Negative 3 and negative 12 will give me negative 15. Before I box it, let's actually multiply this out and let's see what happens. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 12 is negative 12x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36. Now, if I combine like terms there, I'm going to get x squared, negative 12x, and negative 3x is negative 15x plus 36. So what I have here is the same there, so I'm going to box it. We are good to go since these match up. Quick comment here is a lot of times when kids are checking their work, they immediately kind of peek over here and they're like, well, I know I'm supposed to get x squared minus 15x plus. That's what I want to get. So they kind of ignore the math over here and do it incorrectly and write what they want to get over here. You need to really kind of just ignore the original problem. Just do the multiplication. And if things work out, great. If I don't get what I got, one of two things is happening. Either I need to change around the signs here on the 3 and the 12, or maybe 3 and 12 are not the pair I should be using. But again, don't try and cheat yourself and be like, oh, I'm hoping to get x squared minus 15x plus 36, so I'm just going to write that. No. Ignore this, do the work correctly, and then check to see if it matches up. So, third one, x squared plus 3x minus 28. So again, looking for two numbers that multiply to 28. I'm going to kind of disregard the negative sign for now. Let's just talk about numbers that multiply to 28. So 1 times 28, 2 times 14, 4 times 7, and I don't believe there's any other numbers that multiply to 28. So I'm going to need two numbers that multiply to negative 28. So that means if I'm going to need two numbers multiplied together and get a negative, one's going to be positive, one's going to be a negative. Because a positive times a negative gets me a negative. So I know one of these is going to be positive, one is going to be negative. So I need to think, well, how am I going to get 3x from one of these pairs? Now, how I think about it is, can you in any way use 1 and 28? Those are so far apart. There's no way I'm getting 3. Because 1 and 28 is so far apart. 2 and 14 a little bit closer, but still pretty far apart. 2 and 14 if you think of a number line to get 3. Like there's no way I'm going to add and subtract these numbers to get 3. So what about 4 and 7? Those are pretty close. So I'm probably going to use 4 and 7 here. Now I got to think. 4 and 7. One's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. If I want to get a positive 3, I'm probably going to use plus 7 and minus 4. So I'm going to use x minus 4 and x plus 7. So the only thing I need to do is actually multiply these out and see what happens. Check and make sure it works. So x times x is x squared. X times 7 is 7x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Combine like terms there. I get x squared. 7x minus 4x is 3x. And then a negative 28. So notice how my answer here matches up there. Can box it. Great. So moving on to the next one. X squared minus 13x minus 30. Same plan. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 30, add to negative 13. So let's list out numbers that multiply to 30. So 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 is not going to work, 5 and 6. So I want to look at that list and see, what pair is going to give me negative 13. Now, these are ones that you want to be very, very careful on, especially on checking your work, because two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to 13, a lot of people are immediately going to jump at this 3 and 10. And they're going to be like, oh, if I have negative 3 and negative 10, that does make negative 13. And they think, I got it. And they move on. They force a check that they're going to try and make it work. It doesn't work. Negative 3 and negative 10, yes, they do add together to give you negative 13. But negative 3 times negative 10 is positive 30. What we're going to use here is actually 2 and 15 is what I like. So 2 and 15. One's going to have to be positive, one's going to have to be negative since I end up with a negative back here. So to get negative 13, I'm actually going to do x minus 15 and x plus 2. So I just got to get the signs correctly with the 15 and the 2. Let's check it here. If you distribute, x times x is x squared. X times negative 15 is negative 15x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. When you combine like terms there, you get x squared minus 13x minus 30. And that is what we wanted, so we know my answer is correct here. Common mistake, especially on ones like this, where it looks like maybe another pair will work. Students will sit here and try and make 3 and 10 work because they see the 13, they think, oh, 3 and 10. They're going to keep trying, and when they check, it just doesn't work. They usually give up and just leave it anyways. Usually if a pair doesn't work, that means it's a different pair that works. So sometimes you might have to try another pair that might not be as obvious that works. But as long as you're willing to be patient with these, and actually go through and check your work, you will get these right every single time. And that was more factoring.